Welcome to the Advice to My Younger Self podcast series, where we explore the real-life lessons and personal stories behind Jeff Fleischman's book, Advice to My Younger Self, available now on Amazon.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really plunging into a crucial challenge. It's something you flagged in your notes. Actually, how do we make smart, effective decisions when, well, the clock's always ticking?
And information is just flooding in from everywhere.
Exactly. It's overwhelming. To maybe set the stage, let's start with that really powerful quote from Steve Jobs. He said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice.
No.
And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition.
That quote really, it nails Jobs' approach, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He was absolutely a visionary.
Oh, definitely.
Relentlessly pursued his vision. Sometimes people described him as, well, obstinate, inflexible, unwilling to compromise. He relied heavily on that intuition.
Right.
And, lots of corporate visionaries operate with that kind of maniacal focus.
Maniacal focus, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
It's this intense drive, towards one clear vision, often just ignoring the conventional wisdom. They strip away anything that doesn't directly serve that main goal.
Even if it makes others uncomfortable.
Exactly. And that's how they disrupt, how they innovate. They move incredibly fast, trusting their gut and using insights from information in people they really trust.
And this is where it gets really tricky for you listening. In today's world, you've got more data than ever, just mountains of it.
Right.
But processing all that, it takes serious time. And agility, speed, they're absolutely crucial now.
Even small delays can kill your advantage.
Totally. So the big challenge, the thing we want to unpack today, is how do you balance all that data with the need for speed? And maybe most importantly, with your own inner guidance, your intuition.
Yeah. And what our sources really emphasize here is that intuition isn't just some, vague feeling. It can actually be a trusted guide.
Okay.
But the key insight isn't just finding balance. It's seeing it as this dynamic thing, a constant sort of recalibration.
So not static.
No. It's that sweet spot, between barely scratching the surface and overanalysis. And sometimes, like you hinted, just scratching the surface is the right move.
Right. If the risk is low and you need to be fast.
Exactly. It's knowing when it's okay to break those traditional rules.
That makes a lot more sense thinking of it as active calibration. And getting that right, as the source material points out, definitely comes with experience.
Oh, absolutely.
You think about the pitfalls, right? Too little info and you're just guessing.
Flying blind.
Yeah, flying blind. But on the flip side, overanalysis. That just creates delays, costs go up, and suddenly you're not focused on deciding. You're just analyzing forever.
Yeah, analysis paralysis. When perfect becomes the enemy of the good, and it actually costs you more than just making a timely, maybe slightly imperfect decision would have.
Right.
So, okay, that raises the question, how do we get that essential information without falling into that overanalysis trap?
Good question.
Our sources suggest what they call a robust approach to gathering it. Hard facts first, always.
Okay, robust approach. What does that involve?
Well, there are basically 4 core areas to look into, each with key questions. First, people and partners.
Right.
Who should you rely on? Can they be objective? What are their motivations? Do they have a reputation for being candid? What's their track record?
Mm-hmm. Knowing who to listen to?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Second, data and information. What do you actually have? Does it back up what people are saying, or does it contradict it?
Okay.
Are your sources reliable? Super important. And are there any critical gaps you need to fill?
Right. What are we missing?
Third, determining feasibility. Do you actually have the resources, the people, the funding?
The practical stuff.
Yeah. Have you looked at what made past projects succeed? Are the risks documented? Do you understand their potential impact?
Got it. And the last one?
Finally, tracking outcomes. How are you going to measure success? What metrics will tell you if you're on the right path? How often will you check in? And who needs to see those results?
That sounds like a really solid framework for making informed decisions. That's the ideal, right?
That's the ideal.
But what about those times when you just can't get all that information? The clock's ticking, circumstances demand a decision now, even if it's less informed. We've all been there.
Oh, absolutely. In those critical moments, you really have to trust your intuition. The key is, don't panic.
Easier said than done sometimes.
True.
Yeah.
But be prepared for the unexpected. Lean on the information you do have, even if it's limited. And lean on the opinions of those people you really, really trust.
Your core team.
Yes. And crucially, understand that things might not go exactly as planned. You've got to be ready to course correct as needed.
So be decisive but flexible, ready to iterate.
Exactly. Decisive, not reckless. And have a plan B, or at least be ready to make one on the fly.
That makes perfect sense. Plan for imperfection, be ready to pivot.
Okay, but what about when the problem isn't a lack of information? What about when there are internal blockers, things within the team or maybe the leader themselves that just slow everything down?
Ah, yes. The source material talks about these leadership archetypes. Right. And it's important to note these can be situations you run into, or maybe sometimes situations you might be creating yourself without realizing it.
Good point. Let's maybe walk through a few common ones.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, first up, analysis paralysis. We mentioned it before, that feeling of endless redundant analysis, just stalling.
You have the data, maybe too much, but you just can't make the call.
Exactly. The solution there, define what analysis is truly essential. Be ruthless about avoiding superfluous work.
So draw a line. Say, okay, this is enough. We move forward now.
Precisely. Then there's management by committee.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Multiple people kind of managing a project, but no one's clearly the decision maker. It leads to confusion, conflicting action.
Everyone's in charge, so nobody's in charge.
Basically, yeah. The fix here is often a RACI matrix. Responsible, accountable, consulted, informed.
Ah, the RACI chart. Yeah.
The project leader needs to be accountable for setting that up.
Yeah.
It clarifies who owns which decision. Makes a huge difference.
Okay, that definitely helps clear things up. What about when you feel like you're just buried under tons of small tasks that don't really seem to be achieving anything big?
Right. That's death by 1,000 paper cuts. Just loads of secondary, tertiary activities that don't actually drive results.
Feels busy, but not productive.
Exactly. The solution isn't just focus. It's about ruthlessly asking, what's the one thing here that, if we do it, makes everything else easier or maybe even unnecessary?
Looking for leverage.
Yes. Focus on leverage, not just activity. Then there's the meeting after the meeting.
Uh-oh. I know this one. Decisions get made in the meeting.
And then they get undermined afterwards in whispers down the hall.
Yeah. So frustrating.
Totally. The leader here really has to step up, make it clear decisions made are final. And crucially, foster a culture where people feel safe to voice opinions in the meeting.
So people don't feel the need to second guess later.
Exactly. Get it all out on the table then and there.
That's a powerful point about building that upfront trust. Okay, last one you mentioned. The classic deer in the headlights.
Ah, yes. Deer in the headlights. You've got a decision maker, they have the information, but they're just stuck, reluctant to move forward because they're worried about uncertain outcomes.
Frozen by the what-ifs?
Pretty much. In this case, the team members might need to be a bit more assertive, use the data, use the facts, and clearly communicate the negative impact of not deciding.
So it's about providing that nudge backed by evidence to get past the fear.
Right. Help them see that inaction is also a choice, often with worse consequences.
Wow. Understanding these archetypes really does give you a lens, doesn't it? Whether you're dealing with them or maybe seeing a bit of yourself in one of them.
Absolutely. Awareness is the first step to breaking those patterns.
So true.
And what's really transformative here, what the sources really drive home, is that learning to use your instincts together with information and data, that's what truly empowers leaders.
It's not either?
No, it's both. And the sources emphasize that, quote, over time and with experience, you'll hone the dependability of your gut instinct. It's like a muscle.
You develop it through use.
Exactly. It's not static.
And as you hone that instinct, your ability to act quickly, decisively, that grows too, right?
It is.
And with it, your confidence in the calls you make, it becomes this sort of virtuous cycle. Each good decision, even the slightly risky ones that pay off, builds your capacity for the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a process. And Jonas Salk captured it beautifully. He said, "It is always with excitement that I wake up in the morning wondering what my intuition will toss up to me, like gifts from the sea.
Right.
I work with it and rely on it. It's my partner."
It's my partner. I love that. What a great way to think about it.
Isn't it? Treating intuition as a collaborator, not just a random feeling.
So, okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, the core message seems pretty clear. Dynamic leadership. It isn't just about the data.
Nope.
And it's definitely not about just blindly following your gut either.
Right. It's about that powerful synergy between the two.
Yeah.
Refined through practice, through experience, knowing when to really dig into the numbers and when maybe to trust the current. And zooming out a bit, true wisdom in decision-making, it seems to come from that blend, doesn't it? Rigorous information gathering, yes, but also the courage to trust that inner voice, especially when things need to move fast.
Moving beyond just having the information to truly understanding it and then layering your own judgment on top.
Precisely. It's the application, the wisdom piece.
So, as you, our listener, go about your day, maybe consider this final thought. What superfluous work or maybe secondary activities might be holding your decision-making back? What's clogging up the works?
Good question to ponder.
And maybe what's just one immediate step you could take today to streamline things a bit, to make space, empower your intuition, and really let it become your partner, like Salk said.
Yeah. What's one small change?
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thank you for joining us for the Advice to My Younger Self podcast. If you find this podcast helpful, you can purchase Advice to My Younger Self on Amazon. You can also visit us at www.advicetomyyoungerselfbook.com. There you will find book chapter podcasts and other useful information to help you navigate your career.